Hello. Welcome to today's live stream. Today we're talking about mukbangs, Food Network, also Triple D, diners, drive-ins, and dives, even that dude cooking in middle of the forest. What do all these things have in common? Who's watching them? Why are we so obsessed with them? And what are they doing to our brains and waistlines? If you are new here, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Renee Paulson, also known as the Sugar Detox Coach. I am a certified nutrition and healthy living coach and also a recovering food and sugar addict. Oh yeah, I was eating and consuming, I should say consuming, because eating and drinking probably more than 600 grams of sugar a day. Holy schmoly. I can't believe I don't have type 2 diabetes. If you are returning here, then welcome back, girl. We are diving in, and I want to talk today all about mukbangs and like Food Network shows and all of those things. And of course, right now it's fall time. I'm so excited. I love fall. It's like the first day where it's under 70, so I am wearing comfy sweatpants and have my pumpkin spice candle lit. So let's get into it. I do know because it is fall and Halloween's coming, Thanksgiving's coming, Christmas is coming, the New Year's, and then Valentine's Day. So with all of those, as being a former seasoned Food Network watcher, I know that they are about to have a shit ton of like shows that are all centered around the holidays and food for the holidays and all of those comfort, yummy, deliciousness things. So I want to address this today because I have been scrolling through and I keep seeing like all these mukbangs on Facebook. Not on Food Network, on Facebook, like random ones. And here's where like there's this one guy, Nick, I think his name is Nick Akato, Akato, I think it is. He does like fast food mukbangs. I think he used to be vegan and then now not. Obviously. And then there's also mukbangs where people just show like just from here down, and they do ones with kids, and they have these ones that are called ASMR, which like if you turn it up, you literally hear all the sounds of them eating and crunching and chewing and swallowing, and like they say some people find it relaxing. Here is my theory. And they're so popular that people just continue to do it. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the mukbang, I'm going to tell you the actual little definition because I am in shock that as a society, like we're so enthralled with this. And I will tell you that when I was at the height of my food addiction, I would watch all of this and all of the Food Network and all of the baking shows, and I loved it. Yes, I would use the excuse, well, the Food Network, it's giving me ideas on what to make. True, but also I'm making things that are full of cheese and butter. So not exactly health food. The definition is of a mukbang, I guess especially in South Korea. So I don't know if this like originated in South Korea and like Americans just took it over and now we just eat garbage food, because I saw somewhere it's like sushi and like noodles and stuff. And then some that's literally just like fast food, garbage food that, I mean, we're going to go into the theory on why people like it. All right, definition, especially in South Korea, a video, especially one that is live streamed, that features a person eating a large quantity of food and addressing the audience. Also, I've seen ones where literally there's no talking. They put in there like ASMR, all food, no talking. Here is the theory behind why people are so obsessed with these and why they love them. It is not a stress relieving ASMR. All these sounds they reduce my anxiety. Society and people, and we watch these because we have become a food obsessed society. Now, especially in America, we're talking the standard American diet. These American mukbangs that are going on are like Sonic and McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out and all of the like fast food with a drive-through with fries, anything covered in cheese, flash fried and covered in grease. It's a dream like food. People love to watch people consume this because they, I think deep down inside, wish that they were binge eating and consuming this. And not only that, but I think that also people watch these people in awe because it's almost like a car accident. Like you want to look away, but you can't stop watching. Like you just have to watch. And honestly, you watch and like you're salivating and you're watching these people just shove massive amounts of food in their mouth. And what is this thing where you dip it in cheese sauce and like I did some extensive research because I was like, what? And please take this as I am not judging, because I have watched these myself and salivated and be like, oh God, I wish that I could just eat that. And, you know, I think that people watch other people doing this in front of the camera and they're like, oh my God, and they wish that they could eat like that and be honest about it and not feel like they want to hide in the closet when they're eating all of this garbage food. And so it really becomes like almost an obsessive running food thought that you're watching these people consume all of this food and you're salivating. And the other issue that comes in with this, and this is also that goes with Food Network, and it also goes with any of the cooking shows, The Great British Bake Off, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, which was a favorite of mine that I used to watch. I looked up, now they have The Best Thing I Ever Ate, which I have seen an episode of that when it very first came out, but I haven't seen it in years. I mean, I haven't watched Food Network. I've banned myself from Food Network for many years now. But people were watching this and we're wanting to consume these things because they look so delicious. Now, what ends up happening is in your brain pattern, especially when you're addicted to food and sugar, you've had a lot of junk food or a lot of this unhealthy food, your brain actually starts to make new routes. And so your brain starts to light up when you see these things. You see a mukbang. You even see that dude who's cooking out in the forest. There's no talking. He's cooking in the middle of the forest, but you hear the sounds and you see the sights. And those two things are enough to trigger your brain into starting into a craving cycle. Now, this craving cycle could be racing food thoughts. It could be just that obsessive thought, like, I need to have this one thing. Or it could just be like, I want to shove everything in my mouth. And it becomes an obsessive thought. And you continue to think about it. Or you continue to think, oh, that person tried that specialty item at Wendy's or whatever it is. And you start to really obsess about that and really wanting to try it and going and getting it and going out of your way. So once it starts to become those obsessive thoughts, that's really when our actions start to take over. And if you don't have habits or tools in place to help you deal with all of those, food thoughts and how to stop you in mid-track and go, okay, we can't go out and have 8 chicken fingers dipped in cheese sauce. If you don't have the tools in place on how to deal with that, then you just you watch this, and then again, that can become part of that huge vicious diet cycle that people are in, where you binge eat and then you diet because you feel guilty or bad, and you say tomorrow's going to be different, and then tomorrow's never different. Because once you start to build that habit of watching these things, it's actually really hard to break. Now, I didn't have a huge habit of watching mukbangs, but I did have a very, very long-standing habit of watching Food Network. Lots of different aspects of Food Network too. Like, I would watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and then I would have obsessive thoughts that if he went to a place or a restaurant in the general vicinity of where I was living, I had to go there. Or if we were traveling and he had gone to a place that was amazing, and I wanted to try that, I had to go there. Or if I saw something that I wanted to make, like I had to run out that day and get all of this stuff and make whatever that, particular dish was. So Food Network was a really big habit for me to break, because that was something that really started in my teens, with my stepfather. Really, my stepfather is a very large man, and he loves to cook. He's not a professional cook. I probably bet he wished he went back to school to do that. But he loved to watch Food Network, and, especially like Bobby Flay and like all of those, and he would try and replicate those recipes. So it started usually when I was a young teenager that we would have Food Network on in the house. And that's just what we would watch. I remember watching Iron Chef America, the regular Iron Chef where they don't speak any English. I remember watching all of those through my teenage years. And then once I met my husband, I got him hooked on watching Food Network. And then finally, after several years, he's like, every time we watch this, I want something. And first of all, let's say you're watching Chopped or something, or you're watching Iron Chef America. You can't make those things. So instead, you go to your pantry and you grab whatever, or you make whatever, grab whatever leftovers you can, or even run out. I've done that before where I've been watching Food Network and then I'm like, I'm so hungry. And I've run out and run through a drive-through and gotten whatever so I could go home and just like shovel food in my mouth while I'm watching people cook or consume delicious food. I believe that mukbangs are extremely much more dangerous than Food Network. Food Network is an entertainment television that people have been watching for years, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I do, however, think that it's changing just based off of, obviously, like I said, I have not watched it in years, but based off of when I Googled the top Food Network shows. How do I even get them on here? Like the top Food Network shows are The Best Thing I Ever Ate, The Great Food Truck Race, which I've never seen, Ace of Cakes I've never seen, Good Eats, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Iron Chef America, Chopped, and Barefoot Contessa. Just to name the first few top that I could read. Now, a few things like The Best Thing I Ever Ate, and Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Iron Chef America, Chopped, like all of those kind of top shows, I feel are the ones that are more kind of like in mukbang-ish era. Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives for sure, and where it's just in kind of that breeding ground of being able to breed food addiction or sugar addiction or having those obsessive food thoughts. However, I think that nowadays mukbangs are becoming more and more dangerous, especially with the obesity epidemic that we're facing, especially as a country in the United States of America. We're facing a huge problem with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and obesity, and our health is suffering, and we just can continue to consume more and more food, and then we're consuming content that is setting us up to consume more food. And there's studies done that when people watch mukbangs, you consume more food than you intended to do, and more food than you normally would have without watching that. So not only is it triggering your brain to start consuming food, but you're actually consuming more food than you would without having watched that. So it's something really to be aware of and to watch. Of course, I'm not going to say don't ever watch anything, because that's not my, that's not my place. You do you, boo-boo. I would, however, suggest being very careful. If you struggle with food and sugar addictions, mukbangs are really, really big trigger and slippery slope to start try and walk on. I would really stay away from them, because even when I was doing my research and I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? That's crab dipped in cheese? Like, that looks delicious. And so even though I am cognizant, I am aware, and I know that, this is what these things do, it still is a psychological brain thing. It's your brain lighting up going, hey, wait a minute. Let's take a look at that. So it's something to be very, very, very aware of. And probably I would say consume very, very, very little, just because it's something that is so dangerous that can trigger you into a binge eating. If you struggle, like I said, if you struggle with addiction, it can hardcore send you down a binge cycle where if that becomes your habit to watch that, then that again, that triggers that cycle where you start to binge and then you feel like crap, and then you promise that tomorrow's going to be different. And you just keep struggling with that without knowing, you always feel like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just get it together? And really it's that you're struggling with food and sugar addiction. And also some of your habits are set up to keep you in that cycle. And so it can be a really slippery slope. So just be cognizant of that, and just be aware that, wow, these things are out there and people are consuming them more and more. And it's actually, detrimental for your health. I would say your mental health, but definitely for your physical health if you're consuming more than you should be and more than you would without that. So that's my feeling on mukbangs and Food Network. Consume with diligence, consume carefully, consume what's a good word to put that? I'm not very sure. If you're unsure if you are struggling with sugar or food addiction, I actually have a quiz up on my website. I'm going to link my website in the comments, reneepaulsen.com, spelled just my first name and my last name, ReneePaulsen.com. And you can go in there and you can click and you can answer a quiz. Could you possibly be addicted to sugar? And this is a really good quiz. It's a telltale sign that maybe you could possibly be dealing with sugar addiction, or if you're not. So go take the quiz and find out. This Thursday, I do an exclusive live every Thursday afternoon in a private Facebook group. I'm also going to link that group here. And this week, we're going to be diving in a little bit further into how to actually heal your relationship with foods and trigger foods. So we talked a little bit about that last week, but we're going to do a little bit more diving into that and what happens if you've healed your relationship with trigger foods and then you find a new trigger food. So we're going to be covering all of that on Thursday. Make sure you can click on the group in the comments and go join that group so you can hop on live. Make sure your notifications are turned on, and go take that quiz and let me know. Type your results in here in the comments if you dare. Otherwise, I hope you have a fabulous afternoon, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.